What is going on, lads? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're all doing very well. It's a special day. We have the release of Bloomin' Heaven, which is the collaboration EP between Silent Planet and Animate. Now, I've been fortunate enough to get this sent to me a little bit earlier by UNFD because we are in fact going to be speaking to Marcus Vick of Animate, the lead vocalist of Animate. Marcus Vick, the lead vocalist, is what I was trying to say there. We're going to be speaking to him on the Metal Roundup podcast on the 25th. It is currently the 21st, so I want to listen to this in advance before we speak to Marcus and talk about, I'm guessing, not only the EP, but like everything else that's going on in the world of Animate and the upcoming tour that they have with Alt and 156 Silence and of course Silent Planet. A lot to be discussed, so go and check out that episode after you check out my reaction to this EP. So I'm very excited. Not only am I excited to actually just hear the music, obviously I have the event of speaking to Marcus about it in a couple of days, so I'm on a bit of a homework session, if you will, but also hopefully just going to get some fucking new bangers for my playlist. Now, I'm not listening on Spotify. I have been sent like a link that I have to listen through, so I'm hoping the quality is good. I would imagine it will be, but it's not going to maybe flow as well as it should, and it's a small EP, so I'd imagine it's going to have like a lot of flow to it, which would make sense, especially if it's anything like the Invent Anime EP, The Sun Sleeps As If It Never Was, which is one of my favorite EPs of all time, by the way. So yeah, without any further ado, let's hop in, drop a like, and let's go. Fun fact, 77% of the people that watch my videos are not subscribed. That number is absurdly high. YouTube's recommended is so good nowadays that you don't really need to click the subscribe button, but it does really help channels out a lot. So if you are watching and you do enjoy my content regularly, please do consider hitting the subscribe button. Now let's get into the video. Fucking wild start. I'm a little bit indifferent to the first part of this song, but this whole section from here is, I want to say, Invent Animate at their absolute peak. Like, this is the sound that I initially didn't love from them, but when I let The Sun Sleep As If It Never Was, that EP, when I let that like sink into my soul, it just became my favorite thing in the world. And this is them doing that exact sound, and I fucking love it. Yeah, Marcus's voice has just gotten so fucking good over the last couple of years.
Let the lights sink in.
Okay, I want to see if this actually flows. It does kind of. Okay, but before we start this, now again, there's only 2 new tracks. I have heard that song already, and I'm not gonna lie, it didn't make my like top songs of, I think it was February when that song came out. I think it was like early February, and it didn't make my top songs. And I stand by that. I haven't really gone back to that much now. In saying that, the bridge section of that song is so beautiful. That was definitely one of my favorite moments from any song in, I think, was it February? Let me just confirm which date it actually was, so I just know. I can't find the date, it doesn't really matter. But whenever the fuck this came out, whatever month it was at that moment, the bridge section was like one of my favorite moments of that month. But I think the other parts of the song, I won't say let it down, but just didn't have that same flair from like either of the band. You know what I mean? It was like solid from both bands. You could hear both bands coming in certain parts. Like it feels like maybe even more, the composition of the song felt a little bit more Invent Animate, but like the heavier parts of it felt more Silent Planet, if that makes sense. It's kind of hard. So it's fun to like play that like mental gymnastics game of, you know, like trying to figure out which part of the collaboration maybe was inspired a little bit more by Invent Animate's music and then vice versa for Silent Planet. So it's kind of weird because sometimes I feel like I'm listening to a Silent Planet song, and then sometimes it's like, oh wait, this is completely Invent Animate. Like obviously when those like clean glassy guitars comes in, it is Invent Animate all over it. And then I think the bridge section was very Invent Animate, and obviously the call out was Silent Planet. It was literally Gareth. And then obviously some of the like heavier kind of like chunkier sections of the song feel a little bit more like the production on Silent Planet's last album, and the way it was actually mixed, even though it's not Buster Home, which is very interesting. The next one is All the Light Is Gone. And I do have, unfortunately, when you get these songs sent a little bit earlier, it's usually on platforms that have the actual sound waves, and you can see like the actual way the song flows. So this song looks like it's going to be a little bit more drawn out compared to the Return to One track, which I'm hoping is going to play in the favor of the song. So let's go. Because I do like this style from Invent Animate a lot more, where they kind of like flow through tracks. I think they're so good at writing songs like that, and then it'll be interesting to see how Silent Planet get involved with that songwriting, you know. That's Garrett. That piano key, I think it's a piano. I'm getting chills. Here's Marcus. I've got perma chills right now. I really like this song. Garrett's the main vocals here. Marcus is harmonizing with like a scream, kind of sing scream in the back. That is very well done. Beautiful. The last song is going to be a heater. There's no way the last song isn't an absolute barn burner after this song. That was gorgeous. I loved Garrett being the... I think maybe a lot of people will agree with this. I'm going to pause this before this gets into this, but I think a lot of people will agree that maybe, I want to say, maybe not objective isn't the right word, but I think Marcus is more of a natural singer. I think that's fair to say. But there's something about Garrett's screams and his deliveries and his emotion in some of his lines that is undeniably fucking fantastic, and is a big reason as to why Silent Planet are so good. But his singing voice is a little bit hit or miss for me. So I love the decision in this to have Garrett kind of do the more monotone speaking vocals that like meanders through the end of the track, and you can hear Marcus harmonizing, but he's like belting it out, but it's like way further back in the mix. It just adds so much more emotion to it. I think if it was the other way around, it wouldn't sound half as good. I think Marcus obviously is hitting those higher notes. He's clearly got more of a range, I think it's fair to say, in that upper echelon anyway, in the upper range, clearly from what we've heard. Yeah, I love that song. I love the way it builds. It doesn't always have to be heavy. I'm kind of glad they didn't do a breakdown towards the end. I was kind of like, don't just make this heavy for the sake of it. This was like heavy, but in a more emotional way. So beautiful song. I think I enjoy that song from start to finish a lot more than I do Return to One. However, the Return to One bridge, I think, is still my favorite moment of the EP so far. But Armageddon Eyes is the next one and the last one on the album. Also, I can see the sound waves, and it doesn't look like there's a lot of let up in this track after the intro. So we'll see. Oh, what the frick, dudes? Oh my God, it's taking me back to Eden. There's birds and piano. Vessel feature. Birds and piano was a cheat code, man. Holy fuck. I wasn't wrong. That is so pretty. Fucking hell, Marcus. His voice is so good. Oh, fucking jazz. Oh, they're full sending it for the end of this. The fucking feedback. Oh, the like reversed guitar. Fucking hell. Jesus. Jesus. An emotional barn burner feels like the title I should put for this YouTube video. First thoughts after giving it a couple more listens is I think this will definitely grow over time. It does. Something I'm always considering when I listen to Animate's music now after listening to the Sun Sleeps EP is that I don't think they're one of these bands that I can personally really make up my mind properly on a first listen, because the Sun Sleeps EP was an EP that I've been hearing a lot about and people told me to check it out, and I checked it out and I didn't really love it on first listen, but it ended up becoming like I did a video that year when I first heard it. I think it was back in 2022, maybe 2021. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe 2022. And I think the As If It Never Was track was my number one song of that year, despite not really loving the EP as a whole when I first heard it. So it definitely had a lot of growing power on me. And I think that'll be the same with this. Obviously, it's in the same vein. It's a small, like, short EP. I don't think it will grow to the level that the Sun Sleeps did. It doesn't have that same emotional charge. I think the Sun Sleeps As If It Never Was EP flows a lot more fluidly, and it literally flows like it's supposed to be played as one song, whereas this one feels like you can kind of pick and choose which song based on what mood you're in, whereas I feel like the Sun Sleeps is one of those EPs that is like, when you're listening to it, you listen from start to finish and there's no need to pause it anywhere because it's a banger from start to finish, and it's so emotionally driven and it's just so good. The riffs are all beautiful, the soundscapes, the vocals, the riffs, all brilliant. This has a lot of those elements, but it doesn't feel like it flows the same way as something like the Sun Sleeps, which is, you know, it's not all invent animate, so I understand there's obviously like a lot of chefs in the kitchen, so that'll obviously be something that'll be fun to talk about with Marcus as well, because a lot of the credits, there's like fucking 10 people involved in the credits, so I wonder how they kind of navigated maybe trying to figure out if multiple people have certain opinions on something, how do they like bypass that and how do they get around that. But I'll go through it like track by track. Obviously my reaction to Return to One is on the internet already, and I've had a lot of time to sit with that. So what I have written here is I've had time to sit with the track, and it's not one that's really clicked with me over time. So obviously we've had the most time with that track. It's not something I come back to that often or at all, to be honest. I kind of just listened to it a few times and kind of made up my mind on it. And again, that might just be one of those things that I have to return to it a lot. But I personally think that the bridge is just a standout moment on that track, and otherwise it's not bad. It feels like it's kind of good parts of each band's discography, but nowhere near the best either band has done respectively. So I think the bridge is fantastic and it's beautiful, and it's one of my favorite moments, if not my favorite moment on the entire EP. But Return to One, as you'll probably have already guessed, is my least favorite track on the EP, which is a good sign, because the single that they released of 3 songs would almost suggest that this is going to be our big heavy hitter and the one that people probably click with the most. But obviously a 3-track EP is gonna have to be filled with energy and filled with good tracks, because otherwise people are going to be pretty disappointed. And I think there's a lot of dynamics and a lot of variety across this EP. The next track is All the Light Is Gone. This song is beautiful. Like, I had goosebumps for the entire song. I absolutely love the slow build up to this song. The overall soundscape is gorgeous. The piano keys or synth that they're using like as the song builds is so nostalgic, and I think the lyrical content is like talking about someone that they knew in the past or something. I think it was like a girl or something. I'd have to listen to the lyrics over time, but it did mirror that in the soundscapes. Like the piano key or the synth that they're using just like randomly offset throughout the track is very nostalgic, so I guess that plays into the lyrical content as well, which is cool. Marcus's delivery is the standout of this EP for me. I know Gareth is involved in this as well, but I think going into this as singing wise, I think I've always preferred like Marcus's singing voice over Gareth. I think a lot of people will be in the same boat as that. I think, you know, that's not really a hot take. Garrett is absolutely fantastic at like his screams and the heavier side of stuff, but I think it's undeniable that Garrett is the... Not to say that Marcus is a bad lyricist, he's definitely not a bad lyricist, but when you're comparing him to Garrett, he's one of the best fucking lyricists in the game. So that'll also be interesting to speak to Marcus about, like, you know, his link up between Garrett. Now I know they've like collaborated in the past, but like this is obviously the first time they've done like a full length project together. So it'll be really interesting to pick Marcus's brain on how he was able to pick Garrett's brain. So there's going to be so many fun little conversation points that we'll have in the metal roundup. But yeah, like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if Marcus has like developed a new style. He has this kind of like dramatic, poetic way that he's delivering some of these lines. Like in All the Light Is Gone, the way he's talking, it's like he's talking, but it's in a real like almost dramatic, theatrical way. He's like I'm sure it's like a singing technique. Again, we'll talk about it at some point with Marcus. But there's like this, like, I don't know, it's just a real like interesting new technique that he seems to found that works really well, and it worked really, really well in this song. I thought it complemented the song very, very well. Very classy to not include a breakdown in the song like that. I think that's a sign of maturity from both bands, that they didn't feel the need to like lump a breakdown into the end of that song, because I thought it was like kind of like a Without the Whisper type track. It was a little bit more emotional. Again, the lyrical content is over my head at the moment. I didn't listen to it that clearly, but that's a beautiful song. That's gonna be tough to beat. But we'll get on to the last one, which is Armageddon Eyes, which obviously I think the standout part of that track for me anyway on first listen was the like Thal-esque style breakdown towards the end. And I kind of knew going into it, the way the EP was flowing, that the last song on the EP would be something that was a little bit heavier and a little bit more of a barn burner, which it definitely was. It was like an emotional barn burner because we still had all the beautiful vocals, harmonizing between Gareth and Marcus. And the Thal like climactic moment at the end was kind of the example that I used recently in my reaction to Viljarta's most recent song, is that like I don't really click with Thal as a subgenre in and of itself anymore. Like Thal projects by themselves don't really interest me that much anymore because it all starts to feel a little bit samey. But this was a really good example of Thal being used really well as like an accent to another subgenre. So in this case, the subgenre is metalcore, and Thal is being like used sparingly to like kind of assist the song itself and give the song a bit of a different flair. Overall, a really nice varied EP. Not something that I think on first couple listens will match either of the band's respective albums or EPs, but a solid collab nonetheless. Obviously the real obvious comparison is the Sun Sleeps EP. I don't think this stacks up anywhere near that on first listen, but again, I was wrong about the Sun Sleeps on a first listen as well, so we'll see. Now, I think my favorites in order are All the Light Is Gone, so that would be number 1, then Armageddon Eyes, and then Return to 1. I think All the Light Is Gone has massive growing potential. The chorus in that is already like starting to sink in a bit, so we'll see over time. I will say just like one, like, I guess negative thing that I have about this album is I kind of feel as though like I love both bands respectively, and obviously both bands are involved in it clearly, but it almost feels like because they're doing this collaboration thing, you don't really get enough of either band's sound, because like just when you're starting to hear one band's sound come in, it kind of goes and morphs between the two, which I guess is probably a testament to how well this is like mixed and actually put together. But there's just certain things that I kind of wish they would lean into more that would maybe serve the song better, that maybe they just didn't really have the capacity to do because they're doing a short EP between two bands. And again, there's so many people like actually involved in the project. Like the one glaring example I can think of is there was certain moments where like Keaton Goldwire, the guitarist of Invent Animate, he's one of the best guitarists in modern metal. Like when he gets going, some of his riffs are silly. Like some of the real groovy riff downs that he has, so good. And I just feel like some of his riffs were present in some of the songs, especially in I think it was the middle part of Armageddon Eyes, where you can hear Keaton's like riffs kind of bubbling underneath the surface, but it's usually in a verse where there's someone singing over it. So it's kind of like they're there as like an extra layer of atmosphere, but they're not like the sole focus of the song. And I'm a big fucking guitar nerd and a guitar lover and a riff lover, so I kind of missed some of that from this EP. But ultimately, I think you don't notice it as much because the vocals were so good, and obviously the atmosphere and everything built around it. The production was really clean, so solid EP overall. Very much so looking forward to checking out, or not checking out, but like talking with the lads, Burb and Steve, and obviously having Marcus involved as well, which is going to be fun, because the last time we did this was with Eddie from Imminence, but that was only one song, but now we've all heard the full EP, so it's going to be really interesting to pick his brain and see what he has to say. So guys, leave a like in the video if you did enjoy, and obviously go and check out the Metal Roundup podcast. That should be live by the time you're watching this, but if it isn't, just subscribe to the Metal Roundup. I'll link it in the description. You can get involved and go and watch our conversation with Marcus. But guys, that's all from me. Thank you so much for watching. I'm signing out. Look after yourselves. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.